Okay, so before going to start, let me just give you a few instructions and then we will start. Okay, so this is going to be a
Okay, sir.
mock interview and which is also will be recorded and will be uploaded on YouTube later. And because others also learn something from it. And the second thing is, and don't be nervous and be confident. Okay, and yeah, so let us start with this. Are you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Are you fine? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So based on your profile, I have just consider your profile as a fresher. Okay, and also you
Yeah.
mentioned skills like manual testing and then manual testing, Java and SQL. Right? These are the basic three different skill set you mentioned in your resume. So let me ask some basic questions,
Yeah.
okay? Because I consider your profile as a fresher. So let me just go with some basic questions, right? Okay. So
Okay, sir.
shall we start now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So can you just introduce yourself? What is your experience and
Yeah.
what is your qualification? What is your skill set?
Yeah. Myself, Niharika.
Okay.
I'm basically born and brought up in Bangalore. I have completed my BTech in computer science in Vijay Vitala Institute of Technology with an aggregate of 65.
Okay.
And coming to my skill set, I know manual testing, then basics of Java and SQL.
Okay. Okay. Great. So what do you know about SDLC, Software Development Lifecycle?
SDLC, this is the step-by-step procedure which we
Okay.
follow for developing a new software.
Okay. And what are the different phases or including SDLC?
The phases involved are requirement gathering,
Okay.
um, requirement gathering, analysis,
Okay.
design, coding, testing,
Okay.
installation, and maintenance and support.
Okay. Great.
And this,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. Tell me. Proceed.
yeah. In the requirement gathering, the BA will go to the customer place and
Okay.
collect the requirements from the customers, and
Okay.
he will collect it in the business language, and he will convert that into the software language and explain it to the team.
Okay.
And once after the requirements are collected, then
Okay.
analysis phase comes. In this phase, um, a team will be there with the business analyst along with the design architects, along with the architects, HR and finance team, where they will do the feasibility study of the technical feasibility study, resource feasibility study, as well as the finance feasibility study.
Okay.
After they do the once the feasibility study is done, here the project manager will decide whether to take up this project or not, uh, based on the requirements. And after taking up the project, the next process is the design phase.
Okay.
Here the senior architects will do the
No, no, just tell me
um,
just very high level actually. So I don't need any internal what are the task will be done. So what exactly happening the requirement, what will happen in the design and coding, testing and the production, right? So
yeah,
like say in the requirement analysis phase, mainly business unit or project managers or product managers, these people will be involved. And during the design and development, so development people will involve. So they do some kind of design like high level design, low level design, and accordingly they'll write the code during the coding phase, and then testing will come into picture. And after completion of the testing, so then will production will start. Okay, so this is very high level information about SDLC. Okay, you no need to go in detail of SDLC until unless I ask the question. Okay, if anybody asks you explain in detail about SDLC, then you need to explain what are each and every activity will be done in the SDLC. Okay, fine.
okay,
So what do you know about SDLC? So do you know about SDLC?
yes,
SDLC.
yeah,
Yeah, what is
it is
SDLC?
it is a software testing life cycle.
Okay.
Um, it is a process which is followed for the testing process.
Okay, great.
For,
Mm.
Then in the SDLC there are like there is a system study, writing the test plan, writing the test cases.
Okay.
Then requirement traceability writing the requirement traceability matrix.
Okay, so that's it. So SDLC basically talking about the software testing process, which is a part of SDLC. Okay, so SDLC is talking about entire software development process from the requirement to till production. But SDLC is a part of development process. Sorry, so it's a part of testing process. Okay, it is talking about only testing phase. Like during testing, what you will do, we will understand the requirements, right? And then we will writing the test case. That's part of designing. And then we'll execute the test cases. And then finally we'll exit from the test and we'll report the defects or bugs to the developer. So these are all activities involved during SDLC process. Okay, there's a part of entire SDLC. Okay, great. So do you know what are the different models are available or under SDLC, like software development process models?
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, what are the different models are available?
Waterfall model,
Okay.
VModel, spiral
Okay.
model,
Okay.
prototype model, agile model.
Okay. So do you know about VModel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so how the development and testing activities will go on in VModel?
They go on in a parallel.
Okay.
Parallelly, the development and the testing will be happening
Okay.
from the first phase itself.
Okay. So from the first phase in the sense?
From the requirement gathering phase.
Okay. Okay. So from the requirement and you're saying like from the beginning, like from requirement, design, testing, development, in each and every phase, testing will be there, right? Okay, fine.
Yes.
But in the during testing phase, as a tester, we will do the functional testing. But in the initial levels, like in the requirement phase and design phase, how the testing will happen in VModel?
We will review the documents. So static testing is done.
Okay, great. So what is static testing?
Testing any software based on the documents is called as the.
Okay, so let me just clarify it. So basically, in VModel, so we will have each and every phase of testing, right? But in the phase of requirement analysis or designing, by the time we don't have any software, only we have only documentation, right? So by the time we don't have any software to be ready, until unless the development is done, software is not yet ready, right? So during requirement and design phase, we will review the document. We will test the documentation. Like the documentation means what? The documents again talk about the software, how it will be, what are the different features should be there, right? So we will verify whether the documents are correctly written or not, completed or not. So that is comes under static testing, because we are going to test only documentation part until unless the software is ready, right? Once the software is ready, once the development is started, then software will be ready. Then we do dynamic testing. So there we will exactly test the software. Okay, so that's the basic difference. So in the VModel, like development and testing will happen parallelly. Like while developing is doing unit testing, a unit like development is happening, unit testing will be done. So integration testing and then system testing and UAT testing. So these testings will happen depends on the corresponding documents. Like we have SRS document, like we have a design document, then we have a unit test plan, then we have integration test plan, right? So system test plan. So based on those documents, we will parallelly perform the testing in the VModel. Okay. So do you know about anything functional testing? What is functional testing?
Functional testing is testing the functionality or the behavior of an software.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So suppose there is an application. So how we will start functional testing? How we'll perform functional testing? Suppose there is okay, no problem. So there is an application. Let's say I have given some application, and you have to start functional testing on that application. So how we will start? What is your approach? How do you perform functional testing? So where you will start, and what you will refer before conducting functional testing? Because straightforward, we cannot directly start functional testing, right? If you want to test any application, you have to know something, some input you need to have. You need to know something about application, right? Until unless you know the application, you cannot directly start testing, right? So how do you perform functional testing? So how we will start?
First, the requirement study will be done.
Exactly. Yeah.
After which,
Right.
after we will prepare the test data
Okay.
for the input.
Okay. So will you prepare test cases first or test data first?
No.
Okay. When do you prepare test cases? Yeah, test cases, right? When do you prepare test cases?
Like after the test plan, after writing the test plan, when we will write the
Yes.
test cases.
Yeah. So once you understood the functionality, right? Once you understand the functionality, then you start creating the test cases. And if there is any data is required for the test cases, then you will prepare test data parallelly along with the test cases. Okay. All right. So the next question, let's say, suppose I have given an application and you want to test that application, but I have not provided to you any documentation. So you don't have any documentation by hand. I would straightforward, I have given an application. So how to test that application? What kind of testing you will do?
We will do the exploratory testing. We will explore the application by using the application, and we will get to know the functionalities.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great. Correct. So exploratory testing means without having any documentation. So we'll just explore the functionality. It's basically learning the application, and then we will start testing.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is regression testing?
Regression testing. Testing the modules, the modified modules, and also if there is any if there is any changes because of the change in one module, whether it is affecting the other modules or not. We are testing that in the regression testing.
Okay, great. So sometimes the developer made some changes in the build. So because of those changes, the existing functionality or some other functionality which should not be impacted by the changes, right? So sometimes developer may add a new functionality or they will fix existing bugs, right? So because of that, they do some kind of code changes and that should not be impacted on other functionality. For that, we will test the existing functionality also along with the new feature and bug fixes. So that comes under regression testing. So perfect. Okay, so how to write a test case? So what you will refer while writing the test case? So what is the input you need to know first of all? So let's say you have joined a project, okay? And suppose your lead is asked to write some test cases. And what is the information you need to have before writing the test cases? What you should know?
So we have to know the requirements.
Yes, you need to know the requirements and where you will get the requirement, where you will understand the functionality of your application. Until unless you know the functionality, you cannot write the test cases, right? So where exactly you will get the function, where you will know the functionality, on what basis you will understand the functionality?
Using the test scenarios.
Yes, test scenarios. So again, how we will prepare the test scenarios? Because test scenarios, test cases, you have to write. Even if you want to write the test scenarios, you need to know something, right? You need to know the function of application. So where you can see the functionality, how we will know the functionality of application?
In the SRS and the design document.
Exactly. SRS means a software requirement specification and functional specification requirement, which is contains a detailed documentation, which is in understandable format, a more technical format, and testers and developers will able to understand. Okay, that's called FRS, functional requirement specification document. Based on that, you can understand. And FRS also sometimes contains a use cases, right? Use cases. What is a use case? Do you know what is a use case? Use case is also part of a requirement. By seeing the use case, you will understand what is the input, what is an action, what is an outcome. So you will review all these things, and depends on that or based on that, you will understand the functionality, and then you will form the test scenarios, and then you will write the test cases. Okay, that's the process. Is there any difference between test scenario and test case?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is the difference?
Test scenario is the high level documentation which we prepare looking at the requirements.
Okay.
Test cases is the in detailed documentation we prepare by looking at the test scenarios.
Okay.
It is the steps to perform for the executing the
Okay.
software.
Yeah, perfect. So basically test scenario is talking about very high level functionality. Let's say what to test, and test case
Yeah.
talk about how to test, like what are the different
Yeah.
steps are involved, what is an expected, what is an actual result. So these things are included in the test case. So let's step by step action which we need to perform on the application, and then we will check the expected and actually is exactly equal or not. So those things will be included in the test case, but test scenario is very high level. Again, test scenario we can again divide it into multiple test cases. So one test scenario can have one or multiple test cases. Okay.
Okay.
Great. So good answer. And let me ask a few more questions.
Yeah.
What is the difference between priority and severity?
Priority is the urgency of fixing the defect.
Okay.
Severity is the how much impact it is on the business.
Okay. Great.
Business of the customer.
Okay. So severity is basically talking about the seriousness of the defect, how it will impact the business, right? And priority is nothing but how soon we need to fix that issue. It's basically talking about the time. Okay. Good. Okay. So what is the defect life cycle? Can you explain?
Yeah. A defect life cycle. Once the test engineer is found out the defect, then
Okay.
he will state it as a open. He will open the defect and he
Okay.
will send. He will communicate with the development team, and um, he will send this defect to the development team. So
Okay.
the development team developer will make the bug as the assign, and
Okay.
once it is assigned, they will developer will fix the defect, and it will be assigned like after fixing it will be stated as the fixed, and
Okay.
they will send back to the test for testing.
Okay.
Then test engineer will test this defect, and if it is fixed, then he will close the defect, and if it is not yet fixed, then he will send back it as the reopen.
Okay. Okay. Good. So do you know about Agile process?
A
Some,
basic, sir.
yeah. Okay. Sure. No problem. So how the Agile will different from other traditional models, like when you compare with the VModel, Agile, waterfall models, how Agile model will be different? What's the main advantage of Agile process or Agile model? Is there any
Yeah.
advantage when you compare with the VModel or other models? Do you have any advantage of Agile process or Agile model?
Yes, sir, we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Here, in the agile process, the communication in the team is good. The communication will be good, and also here there will be a less documentation,
Okay.
documentation work.
Great. Okay. Okay.
So based on that, so because of that, we can provide the deliver the software soon, and quality will be good.
Okay. So in Agile process, customer no need to wait till the long time. Okay. So he will get the very frequent releases. Let's say there is a huge
Yeah.
functionality. Let's say 100 features are there in the application. So customer no need to wait for all 100 features to be completed. As soon as we completed some piece of software, we will test it and we will give the demo to the customer. And if he's okay, we will release that piece of software to the customer, and parallelly he's using it. And on top of that, we will add few more features, and again we'll start development and testing process. So customer is mainly no need to wait for long term to complete entire software, so we can deliver a piece of software in intervals. Okay, that's the main advantage of agile process. Okay, great. So let me just give you one scenario, so you can just tell me how we can test it. Let's say in internet banking applications, you want to send money to some other person, so you need to you need to enter some amount, right? So that amount should
Yeah.
be limited per day. Let's say you can send on between minimum 10,000, maximum 50,000. So you cannot send more than 50,000. So starting like 10,000 minimum amount, maximum amount 50,000 you can send per day. Okay, so how we can
Okay.
test that field?
We can test this by applying the testing techniques,
Okay.
boundary value analysis.
Okay. Okay. So how we will test it? By using BVA, boundary value analysis.
Yeah, we will check with the minimum, that is the 10,000,
Okay.
and 10,000 minus 1
Okay.
we will check, and 10,000 plus 1 we will be checking
Okay.
for these three datas for the minimum. And when it comes to the maximum, again we will check with the maximum, that is a 50,000, and we will check for the 50,000 minus 1, and 50,000 plus 1.
Okay, great. So we have to check 6 parameters that will cover all the boundaries. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me just give one scenario. Let's say I have file upload scenario. So I need to upload a file in my application. I need to upload a file, and that's basically an image file. Okay. So that is accepting only .png file, and the size, the maximum size of the file is 1 MB. So I should upload only 1 MB size file. Maximum size is 1 MB, and that should be .png extension. So it should not allow any other extension, or it should not allow if the size is exceeded 1 MB. So can you just give me one positive test case and one negative test case for this? Do you know what is positive test and negative test case? Positive testing
Yes.
and negative test case testing.
Yes,
So okay. So
yes,
first first tell me what is positive testing.
Testing a software by passing the valid inputs
Right.
according to the customer requirement.
Right. Great. Yeah.
So that is positive. And negative is passing the invalid inputs,
Okay.
which is not according to the customer requirement.
Great. Great. So now just tell me one positive test case and negative test case for file upload. So my requirement is the file size should be maximum 1 MB. It should not exceed 1 MB. And always file extension should be .png. It should not accept any other extension of the files. Now tell me one positive test case and one negative test case for that.
We verified that the image should be in the format of the .png. So that is the positive.
Okay.
And negative is we are to check that the size of the image is greater than 1 MB.
Okay. So that is negative testing. Similarly, we can also check size wise. We can size wise, and also we can also check the extension wise, right? If you upload file with less than 1 MB size, it should be uploaded successfully. If you upload the file greater than 1 MB, it should not be uploaded. So one is negative, one is positive. Similarly, the extension, right? If you upload the file with the .png, it should be uploaded. Without .png, it should not be uploaded. So that is one positive test case and one negative test case. Okay, so that's all about manual testing. So can I ask some questions from Java? I think you also put skill on Java. I'll ask some basic questions. Okay, and yeah, so you already mentioned in your profile, you know some concepts about object-oriented programming concepts. So can you just let me know what are the OOPS concepts are supported by Java?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Method overloading, overriding, abstraction, polymorphism, encapsulation.
Okay. And what else? What about the class, object?
Yeah, class.
Yeah, the basic entity itself is a class, right? If you have a class, then rest of the concepts will be there. Other than class, there is nothing is possible. So the first one, class, object, then polymorphism, encapsulation, inheritance. So these are data abstractions. So these are all different object-oriented programming concepts. Okay, so can you just tell me the differences between method overloading and overriding? Overloading and overriding.
In the method overloading, it should have in the method overloading the parameters should be of the
just tell me first of all, what is overloading? What is method overloading?
In the method overloading, with this the method name will be same in the and we are changing the number of parameters can be varying.
Great. Yeah.
And in this method overriding, we are changing the implementation of the method itself.
Okay, great. So let me just clarify this. So basically method overloading means, suppose when you create a class in Java, so we can write multiple methods with the same name, right? With this, if I use same name for multiple methods, that's basically called method overloading. But here, what are the rules we need to follow while writing the overloading? While overloading the methods, the number of parameters should be different. Let's say if I create one method with 2 parameters, the same method with the 2 parameters, we cannot create again. But if you still created 2 parameters, again, we need to change the data type or order of the parameters. So each and every method should have a different definition. It should not be unique. That's called method overloading. So when you come to overriding, so in method overriding is possible only with inheritance. At least we need to have a 2 classes, right? That means whatever method we created in the parent class, the same method if you recreate again in the child class by changing the implementation, which is basically called as overriding, right? So overloading is possible with single class also, but overriding is possible only with the inheritance. At least we need to have a 2 classes, then overriding is possible. But in overloading, we will change the only parameters. Method name is only we change the parameters, but in overriding we should not change the definition, the return type, name of the method, number of parameter, we should not change. We should change only the implementation. Okay, so these are the basic differences between overloading and overriding. Okay, great. Okay, what is the use of super keyword? When do you use super keyword in Java? Have you used it? Okay, no problem. Actually, basically super keyword will be used along with the inheritance. Suppose in the parent class, you created one method, and in the child class, you overrided that method. Okay. Now, when you create an object of the child class, when you call that method, only child class method will be called because that's the latest method you have implemented. But still, if you want to invoke the immediate parent class method, right? So then we will use a super keyword. Like we can invoke the immediate parent class variable, immediate parent class method, or immediate parent class constructor. We use super keyword. Okay, which we basically use along with the inheritance concept. Okay, so what is an abstract method in Java? What is an abstract method in Java?
The method which doesn't have the complete implementation. So that method is called as abstract method.
Right. So the method doesn't have any implementation, just only which have only definition, which is called as abstract method. So where we can create abstract methods in Java? Where you can create normal class, can I create abstract methods in the normal class? No. So where we can create? Yes. In interfaces, we can create abstract class. And where else? What else? Where else we can create abstract class, right? So we have an abstract class, right? Before interface. In abstract class methods contains the abstract methods. So even interface also, we can create an abstract methods, and those methods we will implement later by using some other class. Okay. So in interface, implementation is not possible. So we need to create another class and then we will implement those abstract methods. Great. So any idea about collections, Java collections? Do you know anything, any collections like array list, hash map? Okay, no problem, leave it. Okay, so let me ask a few questions from SQL. So do you know SQL? So how much rating you can give on SQL, 1 to 10?
Around 5, sir.
Okay, fine. So let me just ask you a few queries, because you mentioned like you have knowledge on subqueries and joins, and you know some basic DML, DDL commands. A simple query I'm going to ask. Let us say I have a product table. Okay, if you have a paper and pen, you can just write it down, or if you have a notepad, still you can write it down, no problem. It's a simple query I'm going to show you. Simple, a product table which contains only 2 columns. Okay, and product name, or the other column is a price, product and price. Only 2 columns. One column is having product name and the other column is called product price. So there are different products. So some products are having same price, right? Some products are having higher price, some products having low price. So I want to display the data from this table, like expensive products, like whichever the product is very expensive, I want to display the data of that particular product. Let's say you have 10 items in your table. Each item is having some price. Let's say one item is 100 rupees, other item is 200 rupees or 500 rupees or 1000. Now I want to display the item which is having highest price or which is very expensive. Single table, only 2 columns.
Yeah, select the product price from The
So
table name is
products. You can just consider as products, product details or products table, which contains only
yeah,
product
products table.
names. Yeah, price. Yes.
After display with the name and the price, right?
You can just display the name of the product, name along with the price,
Minimum.
both. Yeah. Just I want to get most expensive product or high value product, and the
Okay.
product which is having high price, and you compare with the rest of the products.
Okay. Then select the product name
Okay.
from the products table.
Okay.
Where max of the product price.
Max function. How to use this max function? Can we write? Can you achieve this with single query, or do we need any sub query for that?
We need subquery.
Yeah, we need sub query, right? So how we can use that? So just I want to
where select select the product price, max of the product price from the products table.
Okay,
That
so
will be the sub.
yeah, that will give you the maximum price. So if I say select max of price from product table, that will give you maximum price. But what is my requirement here? I want to just display the details of the product, not only maximum.
Yeah, that will be.
Yes.
So that we will get the maximum price, and
Right.
that is the subquery. And that
Exactly.
subquery will be put into others, the main subquery,
Right.
main query, that is the select product name from the
Products
this
table.
subquery.
That's it. So the final query will be select a star, or if you want to capture all the columns, we can simply say select star from products, where price equal to, in the subquery we can simply say select max of price from the products table. So first we need to know what is the maximum price, right? What is the highest price in the table? And once you get it, we will use that maximum price and then get the details of the product. And whichever product is having that price, we will get it. So select max price from the product table is a subquery, and the output from that query will be the input of the outer query. So in outer query, we will just specify the select a star from products table, or select a product name or price from products table. So we can achieve this by using subquery, right? Okay, so can I ask one more question? So it's a simple having customers table, like customer ID, there's a customer name, and customers are belongs to different countries. Like one customer is belongs to UK, US, or any other countries. Now I want to fetch the data from this table, like each country, how many customers are there? So let's say I have a table in which there are 5 different customers are from US country, right? So now I want to find out from US how many customers are there, from UK how many customers are there, from Germany how many customers there. That means each and every, like country wise, I want to find out total number of customers from the customers table. Again, single table, just to have a few columns like customer ID, customer name, and country, or you can just take customer name and country, only 2 columns. If you want, you can just write down in your paper, just have customer names. Other column is a customer countries. Countries. Yeah. So you can have some duplicate country also. US is repeated 2-3 times. UK is repeated 2-3 times. Now from the US country, how many customers are there? From UK country, how many customers are there? That means each and every country, how many customers are there in the table, I need to find out. So how we can write the query?
Select the country. Count equals select the country count. Like we have to display for all the countries, no sir?
Yes,
like
each country
the
wise.
count.
Yes, each country, how many customers are there in each and every country.
I'm not getting the subquery, sir.
So you don't need to use subquery actually here. So single table. So you don't need to use any subquery. Still you can get it. Just can you try?
Select country.
So let me also give a clue. So here basically we need to group the result.
Yep.
So first of all, we need to group it.
Yeah.
So all the countries, right? Country wise count we need. So
Count,
country wise, we
count.
need to use group. Yes. Yeah.
We have to use the count, select country count equals to.
So country wise results, we need to group.
I'm not getting the proper
Okay,
one.
no problem. So here we have a different countries, as I said, right? Each country, how many customers are there? How many customers? How we will find out by using count star. Count star will give you how many. So each country, how many customers are there? Each country means whenever you say each country means group by will come. So group by country we need to use. So the final query will be select count star, comma, country from customers group by country. So country wise we grouped, and each and every country how many customers are there. Count star will give you the counter. Okay, so here we no need to write the subquery, so we can simply write group by class and count star and we can get it. Okay, so that is a simple query. And do you know about joins?
No.
One last question. So when do you use joins?
When there are two different tables.
Okay.
Multiple tables.
Yes, not only two. Even if you have a one table, we can write a self join, right? So we can create an aliases of the table and we can create. So joins will be used if you want to get the data from one or multiple tables. If you want to join the tables, we can go with the joins. Okay, so that's all from my side. So whatever you know, you answered perfectly fine. And from manual testing, you answered everything, almost Java and SQL. Java, you need to prepare well. So mostly, I have not asked any practical questions from Java, but you need to prepare for practical questions like program-oriented questions. And theoretical questions are fine. So you answered well. Whatever you know, you answered well. Only thing is practical questions you need to prepare. From SQL, also you need to prepare queries. Okay, so theoretical questions are fine, but you need to prepare some more queries. Okay, that's all from my side. All right, so thanks for attending the interview. So prepare well, and if possible, again, I'll take one more mock interview in future. Okay, if you are prepared well. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye.